For months now, we have been watching Donald Trump go from state to state, city to city, town to town, campaigning for President of the United States. Hell, when Donald Trump was President of the United States, he was campaigning for President of the United States. But what is weird about these campaign stops and these campaign rallies is that Donald Trump doesn't talk about what he plans to do for the citizens of the United States should he become president of the United States in 2024. No, these campaign rallies, which I call KKK rallies, is where him and his base can get together to gripe about all that they think is wrong with the system. Donald Trump doesn't talk about what policies he plans to implement to fix the system. Doesn't talk about Medicare and Social Security. Doesn't talk about improving health care and education. Doesn't talk about improving infrastructure. He doesn't talk about lowering taxes. He doesn't talk about what most of us care about when we go to pick President of the United States. But the good news is that Donald Trump does have policies that he plans to implement should he become President of the United States. But you see, those policies are unpopular, right? This is why he doesn't talk about them at his campaign rallies. No, you see, Donald Trump has made it very easy for us to know what it is that he plans to do should he become president, what policies he plans to implement should he become president of the United States. Not only did he provide written form, but Donald Trump also provided videos of all of the policies that he plans to implement should he become President of the United States. So I decided that I am going to do a series of my own. And this series shall be called Agenda 47. What Donald Trump doesn't say he's going to do as President of the United States. Stay tuned for part 1. Welcome to part 1 of Donald Trump's Agenda 47. This is the introduction, just to let you know how things will roll as we go through these videos that Donald Trump was so gracious to provide us with. Number 1, all of these videos can be found over on Donald Trump's website, donaldjtrump.com. There is a link on the page that says Agenda 47. There you will find all of these videos and you will find his written policies. These are the policies that he does not talk about at his campaign rallies. And if he talks about a particular policy, it's a small portion of the policy that always has a racist spin to it should he talk about it at his rallies. I will not be posting every video that he has provided. I will be posting videos with the context that I believe all Americans should care about. But I highly encourage you to go over to his website to watch all of the videos that he has posted that explains what policies he plans to implement should he become President of the United States. Not all of the videos are long. They range from a minute and a half to about 7 minutes. They all aren't long at all, but I know some of us are tired of hearing Donald Trump's voice. I highly recommend you move past that and pay attention to what it is that this man is saying. Because if you pay attention, you will recognize that a lot of the policies of Donald Trump's Agenda 47 matches what's in Project 2025. Without further ado, let's get started. Welcome to part 2 of Donald Trump's Agenda 47. These are the policies that Donald Trump doesn't talk about at his campaign rallies, the policies that he is going to implement that he knows are unpopular. This policy is titled the American Academy.
In recent weeks, Americans have been horrified to see students and faculty at Harvard and other once respected universities expressing support for the savages and jihadists who attacked Israel. We spend more money on higher education than any other country, and yet they're turning our students into communists and terrorists and sympathizers of many, many different dimensions. We can't let this happen. It's time to offer something dramatically different. Under the plan I'm announcing today, we will take the billions and billions of dollars that we will collect by taxing, fining, and suing excessively large private university endowments, and we will then use that money to endow a new institution called the American Academy. Its mission will be to make a truly world-class education available to every American, free of charge, and do it without adding a single dime to the federal debt. This institution will gather an entire universe of the highest quality educational content covering the full spectrum of human knowledge and skills, and make that material available to every American citizen online for free. Whether you want lectures or ancient histories or an introduction to financial accounting or training in a skilled trade, the goal will be to deliver it and get it done properly, using study groups, mentors, industry partnerships, and the latest breakthrough in computing. This will be a truly top-tier education option for the people. It will be strictly non-political, and there will be no wokeness or jihadism allowed. None of that's going to be allowed. Most importantly, the American Academy will compete directly with the existing and very costly four-year university system by granting students degree credentials that the U.S. government and all federal contractors will henceforth recognize. The Academy will award the full and complete equivalent of a bachelor's degree. In addition, to help the 40 million Americans who have some college education but no degree, the American Academy will grant credit for past coursework at legacy institutions and give you the chance to complete your education at the American Academy for free and much more quickly than is now possible or available. This will be a revolution in higher education and will provide life-changing opportunities for tens of millions of our citizens. Enjoy it, learn from it, and thank you.
The American Academy, ladies and gentlemen. Please comment, repost, and share. Welcome to part 3 of Donald Trump's Agenda 47. These are the policies that Donald Trump intends to implement should he become president of the United States. But he doesn't talk about these policies as he goes around the country campaigning for president of the United States. This policy is titled President Trump Calls for Death Penalty for All Human Traffickers.
I was thrilled to host a screening at Bedminster of the important new film, Sound of Freedom, about the power of faith in overcoming evil, and in particular, the evil of child trafficking. Big problem. We had it down to the lowest number in many years just 4 years ago, and now it's gone through the roof. Even though the fake news media has tried to ignore it, Sound of Freedom has been a national sensation and a colossal success at the box office, really big numbers. Everyone should see it. This is a very important film and very important movie, and it's a very important documentary all wrapped up in one. It's really about an issue that has to be discussed. Under my leadership, we did more than any administration in history to combat human trafficking and to end modern-day slavery. In one of my first acts in office, I signed an executive order targeting transnational criminal organizations that traffic and exploit innocent people. I signed the Frederick Douglass Trafficking Victims Prevention and Protection Reauthorization Act, authorizing $430 million to fight sex and labor trafficking. I signed legislation to crack down on foreign countries who are not meeting standards for eliminating trafficking, of which there are many. I also signed into law the Abolish Human Trafficking Act, which strengthened programs supporting survivors and provided more resources for ending modern slavery. We do have modern slavery, if you can believe it. Additionally, I created the first ever White House position focused solely on combating human trafficking. And perhaps most importantly, we created the most secure border in U.S. history by far, dealing a major blow to the cartels and traffickers. We built hundreds of miles of wall. We renovated hundreds of miles of wall. We never had anything like it. And then I got Mexico free of charge to give us 28,000 soldiers to protect us from people coming into our country illegally. When I am back in the White House, I will immediately end the Biden border nightmare that traffickers are using to exploit vulnerable women and children. We will fully secure the border. I will wage war on the cartels just as I destroyed the ISIS caliphate, 100% gone, 100% destroyed. They'll come back now because we have a weak administration. I will use Title 42 to end the child trafficking crisis by returning all trafficked children to their families in their home countries and without delay. And I will urge Congress to ensure that anyone caught trafficking children across our border receives the death penalty immediately, and that includes also for women, because women, as you know, are number one in trafficking. Children are actually number two. I want to thank Eduardo, Jim, Tim Ballard, and everyone else involved in this film for their incredible efforts and their great genius. Together, we will end the scourge of human trafficking, and we will defend the dignity of human life. Thank you very much.
You won't get a lot of commentary from me, but I will say this from time to time. I've told you before, and I'm going to say it again. All Republicans do is lie. So please make sure you do your research on whatever it is that Donald Trump professes to have done during his presidency. Be sure to comment, share, repost, hit that like button, and if you aren't following, please make sure you follow. Welcome to part 4 of Donald Trump's Agenda 47. These are the policies that Donald Trump intends to implement should he become the 47th president of the United States. But these policies he isn't talking about as he goes around the country campaigning for president. Why? Because I believe these policies are not popular. This policy is titled Protecting Students from the Radical Left and Marxist Maniacs Infecting Educational Institutions.
For many years, tuition costs at colleges and universities have been exploding, and I mean absolutely exploding, while academics have been obsessed with indoctrinating America's youth. The time has come to reclaim our once great educational institutions from the radical left, and we will do that. Our secret weapon will be the college accreditation system. It's called accreditation for a reason. The accreditors are supposed to ensure that schools are not ripping off students and taxpayers, but they have failed totally. When I return to the White House, I will fire the radical left accreditors that have allowed our colleges to become dominated by Marxist maniacs and lunatics. We will then accept applications for new accreditors who will impose real standards on colleges once again and once and for all. These standards will include defending the American tradition and Western civilization, protecting free speech, eliminating wasteful administrative positions that drive up costs incredibly, removing all Marxist diversity, equity, and inclusion bureaucrats, offering options for accelerated and low-cost degrees, providing meaningful job placement and career services, and implementing college entrance and exit exams to prove that students are actually learning and getting their money's worth. Furthermore, I will direct the Department of Justice to pursue federal civil rights cases against schools that continue to engage in racial discrimination and schools that persist in explicit unlawful discrimination under the guise of equity will not only have their endowments taxed, but through budget reconciliation, I will advance a measure to have them fined up to the entire amount of their endowment. A portion of the seized funds will then be used as restitution for victims of these illegal and unjust policies that hurt our country so badly. Colleges have gotten hundreds of billions of dollars from hardworking taxpayers, and now we are going to get this anti-American insanity out of our institutions once and for all. We are going to have real education in America. Thank you.
As always, make sure you do your own research. Make sure you comment, share, repost, and if you aren't following, hit that follow button. Welcome to part 5 of Donald Trump's Agenda 47. These are the policies that Donald Trump plans to implement should he become president of the United States of America. However, these are the policies that he is not talking about while he's out on the campaign trail. This policy is titled, Day 1, Executive Order, Ending Citizenship for Children of Illegals and Outlawing Birth Tourism. Think Dreamers.
Joe Biden has launched an illegal foreign invasion of our country, allowing a record number of illegal aliens to storm across our borders. From all over the world they came. Under Biden's current policies, even though these millions of illegal border crossers have entered the country unlawfully, all of their future children will become automatic U.S. citizens. Can you imagine? They'll be eligible for welfare, taxpayer-funded health care, the right to vote, chain migration, and countless other government benefits, many of which will also profit the illegal alien parents. This policy is a reward for breaking the laws of the United States and is obviously a magnet helping draw the flood of illegals across our borders. They come by the millions and millions and millions. They come from mental institutions. They come from jails, prisoners, some of the toughest, meanest people you'll ever see. The United States is among the only countries in the world that says that even if neither parent is a citizen nor even lawfully in the country, their future children are automatic citizens the moment the parents trespass onto our soil. As has been laid out by many scholars, this current policy is based on a historical myth and a willful misinterpretation of the law by the open borders advocates. There aren't that many of them around. It's amazing. Who wants this? Who wants to have prisoners coming into our country? Who wants to have people who are very sick coming into our country? People from mental institutions coming into our country? And come they will. They're coming by the thousands, by the tens of thousands. As part of my plan to secure the border on day 1 of my new term in office, I will sign an executive order making clear to federal agencies that under the correct interpretation of the law, going forward, the future children of illegal aliens will not receive automatic U.S. citizenship. It's things like this that bring millions of people to our country, and they enter our country illegally. My policy will choke off a major incentive for continued illegal immigration, deter more migrants from coming, and encourage many of the aliens Joe Biden has unlawfully let into our country to go back to their home countries. They must go back. Nobody could afford this. Nobody could do this. And even morally, it's so wrong. My order will also end their unfair practice known as birth tourism, where hundreds of thousands of people from all over the planet squat in hotels for their last few weeks of pregnancy to illegitimately and illegally obtain U.S. citizenship for the child, often to later exploit chain migration to jump the line and get green cards for themselves and their family members. It's a practice that's so horrible and so egregious, but we let it go forward. At least one parent will have to be a citizen or a legal resident in order to qualify. We will secure our borders and we will restore our sovereignty starting on day one. Our country will be great again. Our country will be a country again. We'll have borders. We'll have proper education, and we'll put America first. Thank you.
Do your research. Make sure you comment, share, repost, and make sure you hit that follow button.